Sorry, I'm a little late, but as a person who is not super duper techno savvy, I could not get my video on my computer to work again, and it was scheduled and everything. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can see that it's scheduled, but for some reason, when I tried to pull it up on my phone, it wasn't working. So, oh well, whatever. We just got to move forward, right? One thing I learned about walking through stuff when you think you've made a mistake or you think that things aren't going as well, you have to erase that stuff from your mind and keep moving forward because this stuff happens in life. It's just going to happen. And we have to move past it. We have to forget about it. We have to let go. Actually, I just went on that workshop in Africa and it was all about leaving the past behind. So right now I'm in the present moment and I'm here because I'm here every single Wednesday to the best of my ability, unless I'm driving children to college or going on vacation or I'm ill, to bring you messages and to share with you through storytelling how to move through fear into confidence. That's my goal, to help you all. And I come on here because I've been doing videos for many years trying to just get a message of hope and healing and love and light out into the world. And so this is how I do it, right? We can reach a lot of people on social media. And so I had this intuitive hit months ago that part of my work would be to come onto YouTube and to bring a message for people to help them, because I've done a lot of work with clients and now I have my own program loaded up on the computer online. It's an evergreen program. And I've done a lot of Akashic record readings over the years. And so this is the way I feel really helps people in this world. And we can sit and we can focus on all the devastation, the destruction, and all the negativity, or we can work on self-transformation, working on ourselves in order for us to become the most whole, complete soul person that we were meant to be, that we actually are already. And we can use that to go out and serve and then also change our lineage, moving backwards and forwards. So, I mean, there's so many reasons to do this work, you all. And that's why I come on here every week, because I want to inspire someone somewhere in the world. And I would love to know where you're joining me from, to make changes in their lives in order to not only benefit themselves and their soul journey, but also to help other people. And this morning, I was reflecting on the fact that sometimes when oh, thank you. I hope you have a nice day too. This is all about my story of what happens at fire magic school, because I'm a fire walk instructor. I'm a pyromaniac. I love fire. I love making a fire. I love going to bonfires. I love playing with fire, and that's really what Fire Magic School was all about. So today, my story, and I had a little snafu on my computer because I scheduled this live and I put a picture and everything on there. It didn't work. And so, as I said at the opening of my video, sometimes you just got to leave the past behind and you got to move forward. So, needless to say, no, I do not like camping actually. I like glamping, but I don't like camping. Is I was thinking this morning about grief. Have any of you ever been in grief? Have you ever felt grief before? I'm sure the majority of us have felt grief at some point in our lives. And when I went through a lot of grief, and I was watching this very fascinating documentary last night, and when I went through grief with the death of my dad, and then we had that big worldwide thing that kind of went on back 5 years ago, and then my mom died, and a lot of other things happened in that year of 2020, and it really changed me. And it really put me in a space. My day has been great so far. It's only 12:38 Central Standard Time. Thank you for asking. But it put me in a lot of grief. And if you've ever been in grief before and you don't really know a lot about it, grief can actually take you down into your own personal hell. And that's where I went. I went there for a few years until finally one day I decided I don't like being in this space. I don't like not finding joy in my life. I don't like not laughing. I don't like feeling miserable and feeling very down in the dumps all the time. Have any of you felt like that before? And so I made a decision one day that I wasn't going to be like that anymore. I was going to find joy in little things every single day. And I started doing that, and that built and built and built. And over time, I really let go of a lot of the negativity and a lot of the things that I thought might be true on this earth that were really bringing me down. Yes, we all have. We have all felt grief before in some way, shape, or form. And it can even be grief over losing a job or losing a marriage or a relationship or our pet dies. There's so many ways that we can feel grief. But this for me was my father died, and then that thing happened all over the world. And then my mother died 9 months after my father. And so I was very distraught. And a lot of other things transpired in that year as well for me that were pretty soul searching, needing to be looked at. They were very, in my opinion, very sad. And so, as I was saying this morning, I was realizing that grief took me down into a very dark place, into a very sad place, into a very thinking negative thoughts. And when that happens, those negative thoughts can compound and build unless we decide that we want to get out of that. So today I wanted to talk about what really happens at Fire Magic School. And the reason I wanted to talk about this was because this was the first trip, and this was last year in 2024, May of 2024. And I had known about this Fire Magic School for a while. Now, this is kind of how I feel like my life works, and it's speeding up. So I don't know if you all feel that too, but the consciousness of our earth, I feel like, is speeding up. And so I had wanted to go to this fire magic school in either 2022 or 2023. I can't remember, but I it was put on my radar by a fire instructor. And so I had been thinking about it for a while. Well, finally last year in May of 2024, I decided to go to fire magic school. Now, mind you, this is with a fire walk instructor. I am a fire walk instructor. That means we've walked on fire many, many times in many venues with many different people. And so I knew this guy was an instructor. And I also knew that he does fire magic and fire performing. And I love fire. I just told you that a few minutes ago. And so I decided that I would go to this fire magic school. It was a 3-day school. It was in Las Vegas, Nevada in the USA. And I'm realizing as I'm getting ready to leave, I haven't been on a plane in like 4 years, I think. I had not been on a plane. Well, maybe it wasn't that long. Maybe it was 3 years. I had not been on a plane in a long time, nor had I been anywhere by myself out of my own home state for many years because and if I did, I drove and it was very short. And so when I got on the plane to go to fire magic school, I was very nervous. I was very nervous because I had to rent a car. I was staying at a shared Airbnb in Las Vegas. I was getting there on Thursday evening. And so it was going to be dark and I didn't have any groceries. Where was I going to eat? These are all the fear based things going through my mind. So I get on the plane, and when I get nervous, you all, I chat with people. I will chat with people, I will get to know people, and that's my normal nature as anyway. But I just want to occupy myself. And so I'll start chatting with people because I want to get out of my head and into my heart. And so I got on this plane and I was sitting near a woman who was, I think, getting ready to go on vacation. And her husband was on the plane, but he was behind us. But I felt all the anxiety. I felt like my body was shaking. I felt like very nervous and worried. And the plane ride is only a few hours. So maybe it's 2.5 or 3 hours on the plane. So it's not very long. And of course, I had brought everything I needed on the plane. But needless to say, at one point, I got an intuitive hit. And I said to myself, what would happen if another plane was coming at us? while we were on this plane. And within 5 to 10 minutes, another plane was literally flying up right towards our tail end of the plane. Now, this was like a private plane, it wasn't a commercial plane. And I am looking out the window, freaking out because I see this plane coming at us. And the man behind us, I said to him, "Do you see that?" And he's like, "That is weird. I've never seen that before." So, I don't know why that says that. Yes, it was something about a song on here. So I'm watching this plane and it goes behind us, but I've never ever experienced that. Maybe some of you have, but it was very nerve wracking at the moment. And I was kind of freaking out, but I was already freaking out on the plane. My energy was so, it was just really crazy. My energy, it was nervous. It was wondering about what's next, what's next. And a lot of times that's what will happen when we're going walking through something fear-based. So needless to say, I got there, I got to my location, I got my car, got to my location, I got some food. I remember I went to Trader Joe's. There was a Trader Joe's nearby, and I got some dinner. And then I went back to my room, locked my door, and went. Oh, no, I didn't. I ate my dinner in the shared space. And then I went actually to the first night of Fire Magic School. If you were a firewalk instructor, you were allowed to go early to the fire magic training and meet people from all over. These people came from all over the world, you all, to go to this fire magic school. So cool. And one of the reasons was as well because we got to meet a famous fire magician. He's in Las Vegas, he has a show there. And on top of that, we got to meet the guy who lights himself on fire every night in the Cirque du Soleil show called O. So we got to meet him too, and he was awarded an award for all of his longevity in the O program, in the O show. And I've seen the O show, and I didn't remember that, but that was like 20 years ago. So this guy's been lighting himself on fire for probably 20 years. And so he didn't do it that night, but I'm thinking to myself, maybe I need to go back and see. Oh, okay. So we go to the pre-night, the pre-fire magic school night. And the next day, which I met some great people, and the next day we start fire magic school. Now, I'm really nervous because a lot of these people, they eat fire, they play with fire on a regular basis. They're show people, they do shows with fire, they eat fire, they dance with fire, they do crazy acrobatic acts with fire. I mean, these people are they're performers. They're amazing. And here's me, just a single mom going to fire magic school because I love fire. I love playing with fire and I wanted to push my edge. That is what my life is about. That is what I teach people to do is push your edge, go step into things that scare you because you are going to grow and shift and transform when you walk through that fear-based stuff. And so I'm always pushing my own edge. And so I showed up, I did a lot of the things. The first day, things weren't as intense. The second day, we had to take a ball and we had to pass it to one another, and it was on fire. So you kind of roll it in your hands and then you pass it. You don't throw it, you pass it. So you've got this ball on fire in your hands, and we're passing it from one to another. This really kind of freaked me out, you all, because if you hold it in your hands and my instructor is putting it up his arm and rolling it around, and people are rolling it around their chest, and oh my gosh, I'm watching them thinking, how are they doing that? But I was only able to just put it in my hands and then pass it along. And then we did something even scarier. We actually took, they put propane in bubbles, and they get these bubbles all blown up, and you put your hands in the bubbles. So your hands are wet. They're not full of bubbles. Well, they can be, but you put your hands in the bucket, and then they light it on fire, and you have propane filled bubbles lit on fire in your hands. And people were doing tricks with it. People were doing crazy stuff. People put it in their hat and lit their hat on fire. It was just wild. And at one point, he told us we were going to stand in a circle and pass the fire from one to the next. And so we're doing all these really push my edge type of activities. We're lighting paper on fire like magic paper. We are putting fire in books and reading it. We're lighting. I mean, we're doing, oh, the candle picture on my page. We're learning how to do magic with fire and lighting candles with our fingers. I mean, it was fascinating everything we were taught and shown, but it really did push me out of my regular zone of comfort, if you want to call it that, because I'd never done anything like this before. And so let me ask you, have you done anything? And I ask this on all of my lives. Have you done anything that really pushes your edge, that really like got you, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this? Because that is where the transformation is going to happen. And if you have a goal, a dream, a desire, something that you want in your life, you have to take the daily baby steps to create it, to bring it to fruition. And so, but you know what else I was doing today? For example, I was writing down, what do I want to create in my life? And I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to listen to my intuition, and I'm going to do the steps or do the action that I need to do in order to get myself from point A to point B, let's call it. And sometimes we go from point A to point J to point Y, and then we'll get to B. But I mean, if we continue to keep our focus, we will eventually reach that spot. And so I went through these few days really pushing my edge. Apollo, and I'm calling my dog, Apollo, come here. You want to come say hi? Come here. And it really was fascinating. Come inside. Mommy's got to show you something. Come on. I'm going to bring my dog in because he gets into mischief. And if he finds an open spot in our fence, he will run into the neighbor's yard. And then I would have to go off my life. Here he is, right here. So come on. You want to say hi? What are you doing? You want to say hi to everybody? Come up here. Come here. Come see mommy. Come on. You want to see everybody? Look. Look. There he is. There he is. There's my baby. So I finished the fire magic school in the 3 days. And I learned a lot about myself, and I learned what I felt comfortable with and what really pushed me into a place of non comfort. And I decided to bring home, it's always take what you like and leave the rest. I bought this kit of magic tricks, which actually I need to try. We learned how to put like this cotton, magic cotton, and like light this cotton and make noises. And we learned how to take a rose and light it on fire and put our hand over it so it looks like we snuffed it out. It's really cool. Fire is really cool. And I love anything to do with fire. I think it's something, as I know as well, fire is cleansing, and fire will actually cleanse you. And we don't spend enough time in the fire. There's a really great book that actually, I don't even know if you can find it in print anymore, but it's about purifying with fire and how this is something you could do, sit in front of a fire or a bonfire, a fire pit, a fireplace, and just stare at the fire with no music, nothing on, and pay attention to the flames. And it's really something that can help to cleanse us and purify us and make us feel like we're meditating. And so that's an example of something you could try if you are not a great meditator, silent meditator. Just spend some time in front of a fire, notice the flames, see the shapes, see the colors, and pay attention. So I want to challenge you to try that if you love fire too. Oh, I have cobwebs on my ring light. But this fire magic school really taught me a lot of things. It taught me a lot of things about myself. And if you have the opportunity to go to something like a 3 day intensive, something that makes you feel like you're growing, something that makes you sort of nervous and afraid about or wondering like what's this going to be about, or but if you're called to do it, do it. Show up for it, show up for yourself, Make sure that you are stepping into these things that your soul calls you to do, because that is where the transformation occurs. And that is where you're going to get out of your grief or out of your head and into your heart. And that's where we're supposed to be following our true path, is by listening to our hearts, you all. Listen to your heart. And so I want to remind you, I come on here every Wednesday at 12:30 to bring you a message about going from fear to confidence. Because after that trip, because I hadn't traveled on a plane, I hadn't been anywhere by myself, I came home and I felt rejuvenated. I felt excited. I felt thrilled about stepping into more of my work in the world and more of teaching people this stuff. And that's what this transformation is all about. It's all about helping you expand and grow. And that's why we do this. That's why I do this stuff. A lot of people don't want to do that. I get it. But that's what I teach and that's what I want to do. But it really helped me to just feel like, okay, if I can do that, what's the next thing that I can do in my life? And that's what I want for you. If you are somebody that loves to step in, and as one of my coaches told me sometimes, she's like, you're an adrenaline junkie. Well, you know what? Maybe I am an adrenaline junkie. Oh, well, what's the big deal? If I'm an adrenaline junkie, then that's the way it goes. But I don't think I'm an adrenaline junkie. I think I'm a push myself constantly to step into the next level. Take the big leap. There's a book that's called, that's really good. But I'm a kind of person that's constantly stepping into the next level of my greater self, of my more complete self, my more whole self. And that's what I want everyone else to do as well, because it not only impacts us, but it impacts our lineage going backwards and forwards, and it radiates out to our communities and into the bigger, broader scale of the oneness that we all are. So every Wednesday, 12:30 Central Standard Time. I might not be here next Wednesday. I might do a soul visioning journey with this lady, because I'm thinking about going out of town next year for a few weeks. And so she's teaching this thing about soul journeying or visioning. And so I might do that. So I might not be here next week, but we'll see. And the week after that, I will be here for sure. And so please join me every week. And one other thing I want to share is I have a women's program. It's called Find Your Fire. It's all online. You can do it at your own pace. It's a 5-module course program, and it is a self study, and it's evergreen. So you can start it at any time. You can take as much time as you need with it, or you can blast right through it. But it's on my website, www.reclaim, rebuild, restore. So if you are a woman interested in doing that course, check it out, reclaimrebuildrestore.com. And if you are a man and you're interested in getting an Akashic record reading, because, or a woman, but I think for men have been asking me, like, can you mentor me? And I'm happy to mentor men, but at the same time, an Akashic record reading might be something that men are interested in doing just to get some insight on their lives. So if you're interested in that, you can send me an email at melissa@reclaimrebuildrestore.com. So I hope you all are having a super fantastic day. Thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. And sharing, if you know anybody who is needing a little push, a little nudge because they're in fear and they want to step into confidence, please share my channel, share my videos. Actually, this is a real quick story because I'm getting ready to go to my music lesson. Last week, one of the women that asked me to do a duet with her, we are doing a Christmas duet at our recital. She said, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous about such and such. And I said, oh, I just did a video about that the other day. And she said, you do videos? And I said, yes, I'm on YouTube. And she said, could you send me your channel? And so I did. And so maybe you know somebody that needs to go from a place of fear to confidence, and you want to share my channel or one of my videos with them, please do. Because the more people that we can get into confidence and loving themselves and wholeness and happiness and joy and appreciation and gratitude, the better off our world is going to be. Okay, you all, have a super duper great day. Can't wait to see you next time. And yeah, signing out. See you soon.